So yeah, why don't you get started, Michelle? Thank you.
Okay, well, good morning, everyone. Happy August. And if you're watching the Olympics, I hope you are enjoying it, and happy Monday. Great to have all of you here. Today, we're in tune for a great session given to us by Dr. Tulinda Larsen, based in Utah. But before that, Matt Bogosian will provide some updates and announcements for us. So I'll pass it to you, Matt.
Great, thanks, Michelle, and good morning, everyone. It is our every non-holiday Monday. It's AMCC, 30 minutes every week, efficiently coming together to strengthen the American project from the manufacturing cornerstone. It's very cool. We have a lot of momentum, manufacturing momentum, and let's keep it going on these calls. If you're new to these calls, you know, we have kind of an open forum call every once in a while. And then other Mondays, we have a presentation. And today is one of those presentation days. We're excited about that. You know, just for new folks, you know, we frame, you know, manufacturing is the essential cornerstone. It has to happen in regions across the country. Manufacturing needs a robust ecosystem to thrive in regions and key industries like defense, energy, transportation, agriculture, IT, and health. And that ecosystem of support is critical. We call it the Big Six. What the best evidence is showing is a strong and robust regional manufacturing ecosystem, starting with workforce, supply chain, research, innovation, entrepreneurship, infrastructure, trade, operational improvement, and capital access. We've got many best practices, tools, and tactics in each one of those overlapping buckets and industries, and we consistently frame and reframe, as you hear, for those that have been on quite a bit. We keep reframing this and as we go with your input. It's a complex system, and we're all becoming better systems leaders by working together. So like whatever sub-silo you happen to be in within that complex system, working together to add value and integrated decision making is what it's all about. So we're excited to have you on here on these 30-minute Monday calls when you can make the most of them and work to become better systems leaders and organizing. It starts relationships with relationships that deepen over time. And it includes storytelling and things that unite us, and we get to strategies and actions that help us build new structures for the American project. So we're excited today to introduce one of those relationships with Tulinda Larsen, like Michelle was saying, who's been a longtime BFF in Utah. But before that, we want to give a brief opportunity to those you know, who are new or those who haven't spoken up before, you know, to raise your hand and introduce yourself for a minute, and then after that, those opening introductions, we'll turn to Linda. So let's stop here. Are there any folks that are new or haven't spoken up for a while? I mean, if you just want to reintroduce yourself and say, hey, you know, I'm here in this region, in this silo of the manufacturing ecosystem. This is what I'm doing. Please speak up now or next week or any of the other weeks. We have a lot of, I see a lot of great leaders on here and some new folks too. So let me, any hands up? I don't see any hands up. All right, great. Good morning, Jim. Thanks for your note. Oh yeah, I should have said, everybody put your name and affiliation in chat. And if you have something that you know you don't want to take Tulinda's time or whatever to talk about an event or a best practice or whatever, put it in the chat. Chats are very useful in this. Oh, I've got to admit a bunch of people. Hang on a second. David's internet is down, so I'm hang on one second. Thank you. All right. Welcome those that have come in late. Sorry I didn't admit you until now. This is the 30-minute call, and We have just gone through kind of the preamble that we normally do to frame where we are. And I've just invited new folks to come on and introduce themselves. If they haven't been on before, welcome to our 30-minute call. We're going to have a presentation a little bit from Dr. Tulinda Larsen from Utah. But for those I just admitted, welcome. And if you're new, please raise your hand and introduce yourself. There we go. We got Carmen. We got folks coming in. Okay, so I don't see any. So without any further ado, let me turn it to Dr. Tulinda Larsen, and one of our longer relationships here in AMCC, and she's going to talk about a really cool activity that brings together regional state leadership with a federal intervention. So Tulinda, go for it.
Thank you so much. And I'm glad you didn't say I was an old member, right? Because we're not old, Matt, we're just longtime friends.
Exactly. We're just warming up. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you, everyone, for this opportunity. I just got so excited about this community benefit plan activity that the Department of Energy introduced at one of their meetings where they were reviewing all the different contracts. And I thought it was a great thing to share with the group here. So first, a little update. So UAMI has rebranded in May. UAMI, Utah's Advanced Materials Manufacturing Initiative, merged with Utah's Aerospace and Defense Association, which is known as 47G. And so UAMI is now rebranding as 47G UAMI Institute. And I've stepped down from the day-to-day operations, and we're fortunate to have James Taylor, who is on the call today. I know, James, you want to wave or something so everyone knows who you are? James Taylor is with the firm of LSI. He's taking over the day-to-day management of UAMI in 47G, and I've moved on to the board of directors. I put my new email in the chat for anyone who wants to reach out. So this is why it was so exciting, and I wanted to share with you this activity. We did a case study. We did our first one in San Juan County. I'll tell you a whole lot more about it. But when it was over, this is Commissioner Sylvia Stubbs. She said, having an actual suggested activities to consider was very helpful. And that finally we were talking and providing clear direction, not just talk, because before that, when the conversation was about community benefit plan, there wasn't, and I have found it hard to develop community benefit plans without this wonderful tool that they created at the Department of Energy. So first of all, we conducted this under the UAMI Strategic Development Grant from the EDA Tech Hub program. Our grant is Advanced Manufacturing of Critical Materials and Strategy Development Consortium. Now the lead agency is the 47G UAMI Materials Manufacturing Institute. Our service area is actually Utah and some of Idaho, but were these counties that are highlighted on the map on the side here, but most of them are very rural counties in Utah. And our core area of technology is critical materials manufacturing. What we created before we even applied for the grant was this consortium of advanced materials, critical materials and battery consortium. And so the proposal that was accepted was to develop a regional strategy to advance the production and manufacture of critical materials for clean energy. And many of these, as we all know, lack any domestic production. From a previous study that was conducted also at the Department of Energy, led by the University of Utah, called CORE-CM, Carbon Ore Rare Earth Critical Minerals, we found that of the 50 critical materials that are identified by Department of Energy, 40 of them are in Utah. And of course, there are other places in the United States also, but we're fortunate at Utah to actually have 40 of these materials. And most of them are on Native American lands in rural Utah. Makes sense, right? So in putting together the community benefit plan, the Biden administration has incorporated in pretty much every federal contract the requirement to create a community benefit plan. And the 4 key elements of a CBP are workforce and community engagement, which means really meaningful engagement with the community and labor partners, leading to some formal agreements. The second element is good jobs, creating good paying jobs to attract, and retain skilled workers, and making sure that the workers have a voice. And then the third is diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. And the fourth is Justice 40, which is to meet or exceed the objectives of the Biden administration Justice 40 initiative that had 40% of benefits accruing from these various projects, energy projects, to disadvantaged communities. So the Department of Energy created this activity. I would call it game, but they decided that a better word is activity for what we're about to go through. The activity guides participants by having developing a mock community benefit plan. So I have the link there at the bottom. The plan that they used under Department of Energy was the hypothetical development of a hydrogen fuel center trucking project, and everything about it was hypothetical. The activity was designed, or is designed, to learn the parts of a business community benefit plan, as I set out above, learn examples of possible benefits, and then to engage the group in deliberate conversation about the participants' values and priorities. Again, the way DOE set it up, and that link has the board and has all the information, but it's done for a hydrogen plant. What we did under the EDA Tech Hub Strategy Development Grant was we modified this hypothetical hydrogen plant, and we created it to be around critical materials. And we are hosting these forums, as they're called, with our multiple communities in rural Utah and in the communities that are most impacted by the development of critical materials. Our case study that I'm going to go through now is the first one that we ran, and that's in Blanding, Utah. Blanding is a small community in San Juan County. It's in the southeast corner of Utah. That's also known as Four Corners because it has Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. The native communities for San Juan is 65% of the San Juan County land and population. The region has had a lot of Justice 40 community issues. They've had risk of exposure to waste stream from extractive industries, particularly uranium. They've been impacted also by the loss of coal production. And it's on these lands that we have identified the critical materials, and they've been located in this community. The communities also have infrastructure deficiencies such as transportation, utility, water, and internet. It's a very rural part of Utah. The workforce, they also have workforce issues, and there's training and workforce gap to meet the clean energy jobs and challenges. The poverty level for San Juan County is almost 25%. So it is a really good community to start this discussion because they have opportunities for the exploration, extraction of critical materials, but they've also had some very bad experiences. So this is the board, or the activity board. And first of all, the game board includes the 4 principles. You see, yellow is engagement, blue is good jobs, green line there is diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. And then the last one is the environmental or Justice 40. In the DOE plan, they had 5 perspectives presented, but they were like individuals to kind of give a flavor. We changed that and we brainstormed and thought, well, there really are, as we go into a community like this, 5 different perspectives that we should look at developing the community benefit plan. The first perspective is county and local governments, but the county and local government want to use critical materials as an economic growth vehicle for their community, but they want to make sure that it is environmentally and socially sustainable. They want to be able to foster the understanding of critical materials in their community and create opportunities for entrepreneurs to launch businesses. The second perspective is that from tribal communities. The critical materials are located on or near tribal lands, and therefore consent, consideration, collaboration need to be included in any discussion regarding the extraction and exploration of critical materials. The third are the residents. The residents want access to clean energy jobs. They want job pipeline, job training. They want to prepare their youth for future job opportunities, while also decreasing the exposure to the environmental concerns and conditions due to extraction and exploration and extraction of these materials. And they also are interested in having capital for entrepreneurs to start businesses. The fourth are the NGOs, the environmental concerns that address the social licensing and other programs as critical minerals are explored and extracted. And the fifth and final is industry, which creates opportunities for entrepreneurs to launch new businesses or for existing businesses to expand their critical materials business, including assistance with policy issues, technical assistance, business development, and access to capital. So we took these 5 perspectives, and there are 37 of these playing cards broken out by each one of their categories. You can see the first one, the green one, it matches the green on the board. And this one is for diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. So the proposed activity is subsidized transportation costs. So we proposed for 3, part of it is also all the players get what looks like little poker chips so that they can play their chips. And I'll tell you more about that. So this particular one costs 3 chips if you want to do the status, which is that they agree to subsidize transportation, or you can upgrade it as a group. They could upgrade it to 4 chips, which means that they actually have provided transportation, or downgraded it is that they have allow public transportation on or near their facilities. So you see each card comes in like for engaging the community and labor is to create a community advisor board, cost 2 chips, but you could upgrade it to give it more power or downgrade it to give it less power. And good jobs is safety training and fire department partnerships. That this one is at 2 and you can upgrade it to 3. It doesn't have a downgrade. And then Justice 40, these are again just examples, but if you go on that website that I had earlier for DOE, there's 30, I guess there's 36 different cards, and some of them are blank that you could fill in your own. So one of them, one for Justice 40, was creating scholarship programs for youth. That one comes in at 2, but you could upgrade it by having a specific dollar amount cited for 4 chips, or downgrade it for 1 chip. So what I found so helpful is when I was thinking about community benefit plans, I didn't think like this. I didn't think about specific activities that were so tangible as the 37 cards that are in this deck. And I found this really helpful that it was guiding. And then again, you can add they're blank cards that the community or the stakeholders can all add their own thoughts. So we were able to pull together this group from San Juan, and we had each one of the stakeholders take a perspective. Commissioner Sylvia Stubbs, who is a Navajo Indian, took the perspective of the tribal communities. Corey, who's standing next to her, is the plant controller for Energy Fuels, which is an extraction company that's in right outside of Blanding, and they actually are a very, very good industry partner. So obviously they took the position of industry. Justin is with the university's Utah State University Blanding campus, and he took the perspective of residents because he's interfacing with the residents in their education. Javin Ivan is with Jones DeMille Engineering and Architectural Firm, and he took the position as an NGO or from the environmental. And then finally, David Beckerman with 47G took the perspective of government. So how we played the game or activity is each participant was given 5 chips of the same color, representing that you only have limited resources to put together a community benefit plan. And the government was given orange, tribal communities red, residents green, NGOs were purple, and industry was yellow. And you can see here, as the dealer, I would read a card, and then each one of the participants would think about that card, and was that a card that they wanted to invest their chips in? Again, they only have 5 chips, and of the board, you have the 4, you have 20 different spots that you can put your chips down. So they really had to think about it. Then they negotiated. The government said to the tribal nations, well, if we were able to provide some additional services, could we buy your chips to give a priority to a certain level of response that they would like to see in the community benefit plan?
I know you're almost done, Tulinda.
I am. This is my last slide.
That's good, because we want to see if there are a couple of quick questions. And before we're off today's call, I want to turn it to Carla Garrett at EDA about an announcement. So keep going, please.
My last slide.
Yeah.
So this is what the board ended up looking like. And you can see how the different colored chips were put in the different priorities. And we ended up that the top, it's so interesting, this top priority was providing transportation and childcare. And indeed, the residents were willing to trade off higher paying jobs if they could get transportation and childcare. The next priorities was getting education to the local community, especially in the high schools, to help at the youth understand what are critical materials, where they're used, and why they are important to their community. And then also importantly, the ones that have X's, those are ones that they didn't think were important. And pretty much all of the Justice 40 ones they didn't think were important, because fortunately for them, Energy Fuels was already being a very good partner and addressing those environmental. So it was such a great experience. And if anyone needs help, please reach out to me or Guy Latender, who is with 47G, who is leading this project. That's it. I'm done.
Oh, no, it's awesome, Tulinda. I mean, I'm sure I'm not alone. A host of questions, and it sounds to me, first of all, just creative in terms of taking a tool, for hydrogen and morphing it into, an application around critical materials, number one. But number two, in terms of bringing stakeholders to get that kind of ecosystem together quickly, it sounds to me like it's an innovative tool for that. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, Jeff Edwards, real quick.
Morning, Matt and Tulinda, thanks for a great. I had a chance to take part in that event as well, and I'll just say, in all my years of economic development, many of the projects that we tried working with Native American tribes were very challenging and many times didn't lead to any kind of a conclusion. And I felt like there was such great chemistry in the room facilitated by not just the game, but Tulinda just did a masterful job at getting everybody to feel like they're part of it. So I think it's a really kind of a breakthrough strategy that could really be very effective in lots of ways. So anyways, really a good, great project.
Oh,
Yeah,
David Beckerman's on, and he was there also. He was government. Oh, what? Yeah, you were government, right?
Yeah, it's great. Brian Ratcliffe of DOE in the chat dropped a note just talking about the importance of gamifying, right? I said at the outset, storytelling is super important in terms of bringing stakeholders together to create, more action on the ground. So this is an awesome example and looking forward to
Oh,
it.
yeah,
Can you
I had to check it.
put your again your info in the chat to Linda so folks can follow up, and I want to turn it to Carla Garrett at EDA. I should have introduced you at the beginning to do a quick announcement, but that's what happens when you don't have David Van Sicklen on here. So sorry about that, Carla. Go ahead.
It's perfectly fine. I enjoyed listening in because the idea was to do the presentation and drop off, but it was very helpful to hear that. So I'm Carla Garrett with EDA. I'm a project officer on our Good Jobs Challenge program. So I'm here to just announce that we're doing Good Jobs Challenge again. There's a current funding opportunity available. It goes through September 27th, 2024 to apply. The Good Jobs Challenge is looking to advance sector partnership work and training and getting people into good jobs. So kind of heard that term a lot. And what's very helpful to hear was how that game can play a part in having the conversations. What we've seen within our projects, our sector partnerships, or just talking, but it's good to have a way to make that a little less challenging. But the Good Jobs Challenge is looking to, like I said, advance work with sector partnerships, looking at key technology focus areas. So that's all outlined within our notice of funding opportunity. The funding available is $25 million total, and we're looking to make 5 to 8 awards ranging from $1 to $8 million. If you're familiar with Good Jobs Challenge before, we did $500 million, so this is a bit less, but still looking to do the same work, just focusing in on some of those technology areas that we know are up and coming, and using this project as a way to get the workforce ready ahead of those industries reaching full potential. I'll look in the chat if there are any questions. I dropped some links to, we have a kickoff call coming up August 8th at 1 p.m. That link is in the chat, but also the link to all of the application materials. You can reach us at goodjobschallenge@eda.gov if you have any questions or want any follow-up information.
And just so you folks know, the Good Jobs Challenge community, there's a community of practice around it, and Jobs for the Future is one of our sister communities of practice that we have worked closely with over the last couple of years on our AMCC roadshows and giving information and participating in all these AMCC activities, of course, because workforce and training, right, is one of the big six elements of a rising set of manufacturing communities. So, Carla, it's great to have you come on and participate in the AMCC community. And Tulinda, back to you. You dropped a link around the community benefits plan, and so which is super exciting, right? Because our North Star is sustainable development, which is economic competitiveness, of course, but it also includes environmental stewardship, national security, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so what the Department of Energy has done with this, community benefits plan is really been a remarkable step forward in advancing sustainable development. And so Tulinda just dropped a link into to community benefits plan. And if you're unfamiliar with that concept and set of activities, I'd advise that you help us all get smarter on it, learn more yourself, and share what you're learning with the AMCC community. So we're at the top of the hour. Thank you again to Linda. Nice work. Michelle, let me turn it back to you. Yeah.
Thanks so much, man. And thank you again to Linda and Carla. Very excited about the Good Jobs Challenge and learning more And with that, everyone, we look forward to seeing you at the same time on next Monday, which will be August 12th. Same place, and wishing everyone a wonderful week. Thank you so much.